it's processing. We should be live, guys.
That's scary.
Let's see who we have coming in here.
Anybody? No.
Just double check, make sure we're good. We're still new at this. We're rednecks.
Yeehaw.
Okay. All right.
It's official.
We got 7 people watching, so we're going to go. Let's start with Mike. Introduce yourself, then Louie, then John, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, Mike Mills, Lake and Lodge Garage, working on a 67 Bird convertible. Resto mod.
Louis from First Generation Garage, working at another 1968 Firebird convertible car, trying to do 2 cars at one time. Always busy, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, all right, John, Vinyl Village Garage, tinkering, whatever. Got the GTO behind me right now, so I know I'm not working on the Bird. We're still part of the whole Pontiac group, we're going to call it, but I've got my other toys yet. But my dad's car is supposed to be the next car, but we'll see. I guess the thing's in the works for maybe a new, bigger place, because this place is cool, but I outgrown it. So.
That'd be cool. And of course,
Yeah.
I'm Brian Airhead Garage, 67 Firebird. I'm doing. And just hello, gentlemen, up on the chat. And for you other guys that are out there, please let us know. Chris, the Mofo driver, just jumped into the chat. Thank you. All right. Last week, we had a comment or a question that came in after the stream stopped, and that was from, I think, Russell. They want to know what kind of power, do you use power steering fluid or automatic transmission fluid in your power steering system?
Yep.
Russell, that was yeah. So I told him power steering fluid. What do you guys say?
Transmission fluid. That's wrong.
I use the one I can find on the shelf.
Go back to the manuals of back in that time, and that's what they told you to use.
Yeah, ATF. Yeah. It's a popular ad. I mean, Ford used it forever, but GM, it won't hurt actually, probably either way. So,
yeah, I use power steering fluid, but this is a slightly different setup. But
right.
And Lisa says hello, and Isaac says, "What's up, Brian? Howdy, y'all."
Nice.
All right, so what do we got cooking tonight, guys?
wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about.
Why don't you go first, Brian?
Well, I pulled the transmission out of the Bird, the TH350, to fix an oil leak or a fluid leak. Turns out it was a dipstick problem, just new dipstick, problem solved. 4 hours worth of work to pull a tranny out. But while it's out, I noticed that when I'm driving, my speedo is way off. So pulled the gear out. Now I need to do some arithmetic and math with numbers to find out what's the correct gear to put back in before I put the transmission back in. So 2 + 2, carry the 1, divide by 3, add 7, divide by 2.
And how did you determine it was off, Brian?
GPS. This thing.
Yep.
Yep. So, I mean, who needs to know how fast you're going, right? Just
That's right.
Right.
Especially old guys like us. The cops let us go anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I just winked
They
at
see
him.
the white and they go, "Old guy, go, go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got enough problems. He doesn't need a ticket.
He's only dripping fluid out of his car.
Yep.
Yeah, he left a puddle on the side of the road. He doesn't need a ticket.
Yeah,
Well, car is hemorrhaging, Sheesh.
Yeah.
I
hear you.
I'm still waiting for Louis' transmission bar linkage.
Yeah, it's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Pony Express, right? Pony Express?
No pony. A little pigeon.
Pony pigeon.
just a little bird.
A little bird.
Yeah, so I'm into this week. I'm into doing convertible top frame. which has been less than fun so far. I got a situation. I'm going to document it pretty well because I haven't seen much, but this is an OER reproduction convert power top frame, and it won't close all the way. I mean, it won't retract all the way on one side. So I got something tweaked in there. I'm going to have to carefully measure both sides and try to figure out what's different and what's hitting. And I just kind of walked away from it tonight because I was a little discouraged, but you know, the pump's working. Everything else is going all right. I just got to figure out why it won't fold down all the way. I may be looking to you for some pictures, Louis.
Okay.
And Gus says hello on the chat. So hello, Gus. Welcome.
Nice.
Louis, what you got cooking?
I was just making I was fabricating a bracket. That's why I actually came a little late to you guys tonight. I was fabricating this bracket right here. I made this myself. Whoever did the dashboard on Ladybird here, it was I was flopping around very loose, and I said, "What the heck is going on?" So there's a bracket from factory on the left-hand side, driver's side, that gets welded to the upper post kick panel area on the top. It's where the emergency brake T-handle gets pulled when you have the emergency brake on, and it gets bolted by one bolt on top. Well, whoever cut it off decided never to replace it or even give it to the owner. And listen, this is something you're not going to order from a catalog. So you have to finesse and start taking out your fabrication skills out the box. And thanks God I have about 868 fibers in the bird cage. So I just started copying down with some cardboard, and that's the next video coming up. I'm going to be burning it pretty soon.
Some CAD work.
That can be a little confusing, like when you're taking out an old dash and you're buying a new one, not exactly knowing what's with the new one versus the old.
Exactly.
I took those brackets out and had to put them back in.
Correct. They don't sell them.
They don't sell them, and they don't come with the new panel. So you have to deal with it.
Yep.
Nice.
John, what are you working on?
Staying warm. It's a full-time job. Well, because I'm the one not playing with a bird right now. I'm playing with my goat. But doing most of the metal work, just tinkering until I figure out where I'm going to land my feet at. I don't want to gut this thing or tear it apart, but did the quarter panel, got the trunk deck. I will say, as the trunk deck goes, I got lucky on the Great Pumpkin project. I believe it was an AMD trunk deck. It was one of the best fitting F-body trunk decks I've ever bought. And I bought one for the GTO here behind me, and it blew my mind. It actually fit as nice as it did. So it was a pleasant surprise for a change. Because normally I'm beating, twisting, modifying like Mike knows. You got to make this stuff work. But it was kind of nice to kind of sit back and not have to do that for a change. But with next go around, I'm going to work on doing some fender patches, which I bought these off the old interwebs. And it has the inner brace. But
nice.
For some reason, they've already welded it on. Because how do you get any paint in between the two of them? So I don't know. I'm going to drill that out and separate it. But
with some paint.
I'm going to do some fender patching on this thing. That's all I got left of rust repair. It's got little holes, but this car didn't come with fenders. I think they were stolen, or I almost kind of think this car was crashed years ago and got ditched at the body shop. I'll never know the story, but I think the front sheet metal was torn up on it and they got ditched, and now I've acquired it. But I found a couple fenders, but they're from Indiana, so they got rust. But that's okay. I know a guy. So.
Rust.
Rust. That's what I'm up to. Yeah.
Rust and cold weather, Brian. Things you'll never have to worry about.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It's 64 degrees there. It's cold.
Rust. I'm going to give a shout out to Bill O'Brien in St. Louis. He messaged me and he had an extra dash, the padded dash for 67.
Oh, nice.
And so he's going to shoot it over to me because I'm missing that complete dash part. So he's going to shoot it over to me. It does need to be redone, but that's a video, right?
Oh, yeah. A little vinyl, some glue, and some silly putty.
And 67 is one of the easiest to fix.
Yeah, no uprights on the side. It's flat.
Something easy.
Oh, it's very simple. You should be able to hit a home run with that.
Easiest. It's all relative, Brian.
Nice.
Jim and Kelly say, do you have
Hey.
a preference? A preference for what, guys? Let us know in the chat. What a preference in what? We'll come back to you guys.
I
That's probably
sent
been the power steering
Jim the other
versus-
day. I sent Jim the other day a picture of that console. Remember, it was somebody had a question also for 67, the console or the console on the floor, 67 being totally different from 68 and 69. I sent you a picture also, Brian.
Oh,
So I'm actually, hopefully this weekend, I'm going to make a short little drive to California and pick up a 67 console that looks
There
to
you
be
go.
complete.
yeah,
So-
not into the fire, right?
What's that?
Not into the fire, right?
No. But
That's
again,
too
like we
bad.
talked last week, I don't know about the Firebird or the Pontiac world, but the Porsche world has been all about all the pictures of all the burnt out classics, like
Oh yeah.
just shells, cars. And how do you insurance that? How do you, like, do you even repair that? Can you even rebuild those things? And what's it going to take to put one back together? So I feel bad for all those people out there.
Oh yeah, something like that. To me, I wouldn't mess with trying to bring it back. That metal's just going to be distorted and fatigued, and
Oh yeah.
metal treated differently. It's sad, but they're gone. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
You will have to grab the VIN number if it still exists, the tag, and start from there.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, and then just weave it on through. Let's see here. Howard Russell says John has a great video on restoring a dash.
Yes, he
he
That
does.
worked out okay. Yeah, that worked out real good. I want to ditch the one that's in the Transmitter. I use one of those hard plastic covers that goes over top. That was at that point was the best solution because the
Like a
re-pop
cap?
dashes are awful. Yeah, it's like a cap that goes over top. It looked good the first time I put it in the sun, and it warped all across the whole thing. And I said that just was absolutely awful. So I just figured what would have to lose, and I did the Great Pumpkin that way, and it came out great. I said, well, heck, I'll do it again on the Mockingbird project. Worked out great. So I'm going to do the same thing to my car, but just getting a dash out on a 69 Bird is a pain in the butt. So it's going to be one of those projects that I'll have to get that ripped out and wrap it with vinyl, and it comes out nice. Because one of the Mockingbird, that was the worst cracked dash I've ever seen in my entire life, but it came out great, and the owner loves it. So.
Yeah, I did.
Jim and Kelly said on where the placement of the oil pressure sender on a Pontiac engine is at the oil filler by the distributor.
By the oil filter housing, all of them I've ever seen.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jim and Kelly, you guys got your answer.
Now they've got two different style oil filter housings, and then the angle that the oil sending unit comes out, and then you got rear mounted and side mounted, and yikes. So anyway, yeah, good luck. There's a lot of options.
Speaking of which, I'm different senders when I put in that rally dash, right? That rally gauge
Yep.
cluster.
Yeah.
Yep, I need different senders. So I don't
Yep.
work on that too. But first things first, I got to get all the body work done before anything else happens. Which, as you can
but
see,
you're
the
getting there.
car is now fully primered.
Yep.
Isn't that always the way? Bodywork and paint are kind of like a step, and then it's like life after bodywork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the part
I was
that
online
pains
today
me.
looking at headliners and carpet and just interior pieces because that's gonna be the next big hurdle that I
Yep.
tackle.
Well, all
That's
those
gonna be
little
so much
details, the interior or the finishing touches, that's what's really gets time consuming, I think, because I can do all the sheet metal work, and Louis burns out sheet metal work really quick. And even the paint and body work, I'm actually not doing so bad with that. But when it gets down to the final assembly, all the little screws and nuts and
Yep.
brackets, and
Yep.
that's what really burns up a
yeah.
lot of time.
Oh yeah, especially the bolt on restorations. I mean, you have to be so careful, and you really got to be careful what you're doing because anything you messed up, it just makes it look like crap. So you don't want to go that route.
little by little. Lisa says, who is going to go to Firebird Fest in May? Anybody
that's
planning on going
my
to
plan.
Firebird Fest in St. Louis?
Yeah. Well, Louis got to go. We got to keep twisting his arm.
Come on, Lou. Come on.
I'll pick you up on the way through, Louis.
There you go. That's a plan.
Well,
So,
I'm going to do my best to bring my bird. That's the plan, but we'll see what happens. I mean, there's
but you better
time is
show
doing
up.
this. Are you going to
Yeah.
be there, John? You are coming?
If I could have somebody to go with, I'd probably go. I don't want to go on myself.
What weekend is it?
Take Mike.
I
It's
don't remember. It's
I'm trying to think of when that is. It's like the May. It's in the middle of May. It's like the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, something like that.
yeah, I can't remember.
Lisa says May 15th to the 18th.
Okay.
So, and
All right,
Yeah,
yeah.
her car.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Jenna 047. Hey, Jenna, love the fact that Mike and Louie share the measurements. I'm wondering if there's a spot where we can put all the measurements for all to share. That might be a web page or something like that, Jenna. But we can figure that out for you if you need it.
Yeah, I have a share folder on Google that's public that I put stuff like that on, but I only put links to it periodically. But yeah, maybe we should do that. And everyone's different, right? I mean, like Jonathan says, everyone could be, half inch off. But yeah, I actually had a guy ask me this week, can you measure from the bottom of the windshield seam down to the rear bolt on the front subframe? And I'm like, yeah, I can, but it's got to kind of go where it goes. It's where it's happy is where it's happy. Nothing. But
the measurements aren't exact. They're a great point of reference, and it's what you shoot for. But like I'll say 100 times over, what's it look like when it's done? How's that door shut? How's the fender
Right.
fit? How's the trunk shutting on that thing? I don't care if your measurements are spot on. If you can put your fingers in the door when it's shut and then get in the jam, what good is that? But you want to try to get them equal side to side. It should be a mirror. So if your left side's this much, your right side should be within the 1/8 inch. So.
Yeah, I got really wrapped around the axle. I was on the interwebs with all three godfathers here trying to figure out where everything went and what was. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And finally, I just literally set up my jig based on the body and said, you know what? We're going. And it worked out. So can't really complain. Yeah, if your body's not twisted, that's the way to do it. If you got a twisted body, then you gotta figure it out. But
you got to get creative then.
So Gus says hood tack measurement template. Gus, are you referring to the template on where it locates on the hood itself? Is that what you mean, Gus? Because if you do, I can take Louie's template that he sent me and scan it into a PDF, and I can email it to you, Gus, if that's what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find it. Keep talking.
Yeah, that template is a lifesaver. I mean, I used it. I believe Jonathan used it. Brian used it. I mailed a whole bunch around the world, so God knows how many people have used it.
Yep, that's correct for all the birds except for which one, Louie?
Oh, you better never put that on a Trans Am 69 car, because I'll hang you.
I knew that was a go button. I had to get that in there.
Yeah. It's sad. I actually seen a real TA car with one on it.
It happens. I see it quite a bit too, but it happens. That was the reason for the stacked gauges, because the Trans Am could not have a hood tack, so they wanted a dash tack. They said, well, we'll put you a dash tack in, but then you lose your gauges. So I said, well, how do we fix that? They came with that stacked gauges. It's not a Trans Am only option, but that was how they overcame the fact that you wanted a hood tack and a car that didn't have a provision for, you could have a tack, but you couldn't have a hood tack. That was their plan. So
yep. In my opinion, that Ram Air hood is so good looking, you don't need that tack up there.
No, I guess not.
So Gus says another question. I found it. I'll scan it, send it to Gus. Anybody else wants a copy of it? Let me know, and I'll send you an email. Gus,
Remember,
also
I shared my video about the hood tack template. The only thing I don't add is the hole of the studs, because depending which brand you buy, they different.
Yep.
You know.
Hey, Brian,
And I made a video on mine.
Send that to me as well, and I'll post it up on the website, so up on the share folder, so people can get it.
Okay, Mike. So Gus says, question for a 67 Firebird 400 convertible with matching number engine and turbo 400 transmission, the header recommendation, or should I keep stock exhaust manifolds since I'm keeping a stock engine?
I'd keep the stock manifolds if it's that complete.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like headers, but you're talking
Me
about
too.
an original style car. There's a lot of advantages keeping those manifolds. I mean, just under hood temperatures or less, that's a big one. You're not fighting header gaskets blowing out of it. Doug's headers is a really great place to get them, but they're $700, $800, $900 now, I think, for a set of headers.
Yep.
They're probably worth it, but it's a lot of money. But I mean, unless you're going to go try and get every ounce of power out of it, the headers are kind of an overkill. I think drivability is probably better. Less maintenance.
I look to headers when I can't find the right manifolds.
Yep.
And you got those Pontiac engineers were pretty smart. They did a nice job on all that stuff. So I would stick with the manifold.
Right. The power gains, I don't know, are worth the losses and time replacing blown gaskets. Now, Louis gets pretty lucky, but I fight replacing gaskets. I don't like doing that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're building a stock car or something with a 5-inch exhaust, well, then you got to really let it breathe. But
you got to get it out. Right?
You got to get it out.
Jim and Kelly say, John, has the GTO been any harder to work on in the garage compared to a Firebird with a size difference?
Remarkably, there really isn't that much difference in size. I've had a GTO. I had the other one, my clone, for 20-some years. I mean, you park them side by side, there really aren't that much difference in the outside dimensions. So really, no, it's not too bad at all. Now, this car's been a blessing in disguise. It's one of the nicest cars this GTO I've ever worked on. Normally, I got rust buckets going galore here. I'm fighting everything, but this has been kind of a weird journey for me. I haven't had to fight the rust, so I kind of like it. I'm hoping to keep plugging along on it and get it done, but life happens. I got things going. So this is my temporary project, keeping something. I like to tinker. I can't not tinker. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. So I guess
John,
not much different. No.
So my question is this: my '67 Firebird, lengthwise, how much smaller or longer would it be for, say, a GTO or a two-door Bonneville? Is it that much
Bonneville?
smaller?
That's a boat. Yeah, Bonneville's a full-size car. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a beast. Now, I would say the difference between the GTO and the Firebird is probably, I don't know, foot and a half. I don't.
Yeah, that's about right. A foot and a half. Yep.
Okay. Gus says, awesome. Thanks, guys. Any luck with Flowmaster American Thunder exhaust systems? 17129 Super 44 Series Performance Muffler X brace fitting. That's a mouthful, man.
On my 67 Firebird, I have that set up. I just think the X braces that I don't have. But yeah, it's good. I mean, I got a full 55 in that sucker. I mean, she sounds nasty regardless. John could tell you just touch that pedal and she goes.
Yeah, the loud pedal, and it wants to make noise.
Oh my God, forget it.
Got another question from Howard Russell. I'm thinking about getting a chambered exhaust for my 67 Bird. What are your guys' opinions?
That's what I have on all of my stuff. Now, I call them Flow Masters. They're not really Flow Master, but they're an off brand of it. It's a dual 3-inch exhaust I put on both of my 69 birds. And now the missus says it's a little loud, but I absolutely love the sound of it. It sounds great to me.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have a drone, but it's definitely louder than a factory style exhaust, which I've done both, the factory style and the 3-inch. But for me, I like the sound of a chambered muffler. It works. So I'm not all about necessarily the performance, but I do like the sound.
All right, who's next? Isaac. Brian, where is your horse? I have 3 of them, and they're up in the ranch. Their names are Ketchup.
Mayonnaise, mustard.
Actually, my dad is looking. He's 84, and he wants to buy his 4th horse. He wants the 4th horse. And we're like, Dad, you're 84. What are you doing? You're not riding these things. I just want one. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
There you go. Cleared that right up.
So I'm going to tell his daughter, my wife, I need another car. Why? Because I want one. If your dad can have another horse, I can have another car, right? Right? Logic.
Yep.
Logic.
I totally see the logic in that.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
It's the way I roll.
Yep. You can never have enough cars.
Right?
yeah, well.
Better than mistresses. I mean, I don't know. But
Those are expensive.
what, mistresses?
Yeah, that could get sideways.
Or horses.
Yes, both.
Yeah, cars are cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Cars are much cheaper.
Ay.
Although hay right now, some places hay is like $20 a bale.
Huh.
That is outrageous, but gotta feed them horses.
Yeah.
This happens when you live out there in the desert.
Right? We haven't had rain since August. So,
Damn.
Wow.
Raymond says put an HO exhaust manifold with a factory system on it. That's what Raymond says.
Yeah. That's what I put on the Mockingbird. They were the Ram Air manifolds. They were actually really good performance and keeps underhood temps down. It works real nice. But the problem is those manifolds are made out of unobtainium, and good luck finding them right now.
Jim and Kelly say, Brian, how's the bodywork coming from the car? Well, as you can see, guys, it's finally all primered, but in doing so, I hit lots of Bondo. And I have both rear quarter panels that one needs to be just redone, one to be cut out with new metal. And the hood is like, it looks like the moon. There's just like little craters, little dings everywhere on that hood. And I'm just like, there's not going to be enough alcohol to handle this all. So,
Might be cheaper to give us a plane ticket. I come give you a hand.
I know, right?
Hey, at least you can
Hey,
still
I
laugh
did-
about it.
Yeah.
and I did learn while shooting the primer, I'm going to need one of those lights that go on your gun, your
On the
spray
gun?
gun.
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting old and way too much porn because the eyes are just going down the hill.
Yeah, I got it.
Where is it? Yeah, I
Don't get old,
bought
boys. Do not get old.
I bought one of those.
Don't have a
I think it's
choice.
called a gun buddy or something like that. And it's
Yeah.
just a light that wraps around the cup. That
Yep.
one worked
Yep.
okay. The ones that mount to the side, those are $300-400. But the one I got just mounted to the cup, and it worked pretty good. I'll send you a link, Brian.
Yeah, working
Okay.
with metallics,
I-
especially, you want to light with metallics.
Because, I'm getting old.
Yep.
I hear you.
Yeah. I'm just about the oldest guy at work. And that's kind of funny. All these little 20-somethings at work, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, when it comes to body work, you're not going to be using your eyes as much. You're going to be using your hands. Yeah. Because let me tell you something. I don't care. And everybody that done a lot of body work, not one car, many cars,
Mhm.
things that your eyes can't see, your hands will feel.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
This
Is
thing
that the
right
light
here.
right there, Mike? All right.
Yep. Gun buddy.
Speaking of which, now,
Gun
Louie
butt.
and everyone,
It works pretty good.
now that I have it all primered up, I'm gonna go through and circle all my lows and all my highs. But do I start blocking with 220, or what do you start with? What do you start with?
Depending what blocking you're talking about.
Yeah, if you're just trying to locate stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the idea of your primer, is it an epoxy primer? What'd you put down first?
It's the U-Pole 2253 or whatever.
It is a DTM. It's a DTM. I use it as a high build, as a sealer, depending on how you mix it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, in that case, I mean, you're gonna have to scuff the entire thing in if there's stuff to bond to it. So I'd probably block it with 220 and see where you're at, just to start to level it off, get an idea where your low spots are at. But the goal is not to burn through the bare metal, though. You don't want to see metal. In that case,
So
you
when
got to seal it back up and go at it again.
So when I start to see shiny, I should stop.
Oh, you need to stop before you hit.
Before
shiny.
that, yeah, before that. You would tell on the light of the primer, it gets a little lighter.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? You're going to prime it again anyway. So if you just put another coat of sealer on before you go.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Just the goal is not to sand through the primer, though.
Absolutely. But I'm not that good.
Noted.
It happens.
Noted.
It'll
Do
happen.
not sand through primer. Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. If you start to get into metal, then you're taking a step back. But
Let's get caught up here. Let's see. Gus says, are there any mods if you go with an aftermarket power steering gearbox that has less than a 3.75 to 4.25 ratio?
Like, as for different power steering pumps?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what he's talking about.
I don't think so. Because one of the big mods was you take like I think it was a Jeep Cherokee steering box, and you could throw it on these old F bodies. It had a different ratio, and it's pretty much a direct bolt on besides some kind of mod to the rag joint. So the pump is fine because even my LS swap car, I kept the factory gearbox and used the LS power steering pump with some metric to SAE line adapters, and it works great. So I guess I don't think you need to change the pump or anything. It's still a Saginaw pump. It's a pump used since the 60s. It's almost all the same.
what rig do you have an LS swap in? I didn't even know this.
Oh, my Trans Am convertible.
Oh, that's an LS? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did that because I wanted to do an LS swap. I've been a hardcore Pontiac guy, so I am that guy making fun of myself now because I put a quote unquote Chevy engine in my Pontiac. But I did paint it Pontiac blue, okay? And I did make it functional ram air. All right. So I tried to say some homage to the Pontiac, but I wanted a car that I could drive anywhere. That was the purpose of this car. I wanted to look like a 69 Trans Am, but I wanted to drive. I've been to Louis in Pennsylvania. It's a 12-hour, 10-hour drive.
Yep.
I've been to South Carolina, my mom's house. Been to Pennsylvania, my grandma's house. I'm at St. Louis 2 or 3 times. I mean, it gets driven, and I get like 23 miles per gallon at the AC on, cruising at 80. So I can't complain. And if it breaks down, I hate to say it, I can get parts from any parts store for it. I keep it running.
Yep.
And remember, those LS3s were in the G9s. It is a Pontiac.
Right, I know. But I agree with myself now at this point. But outside looking in, I get hell for it all the time. I just leave the hood shut.
You were conflicted for a while, I can tell.
Yeah. But also, it was like, I like accepting challenges. That's the reason I've been doing this stuff for years. I like putting myself in a situation like, wow, I wanted to say I did an LS swap, but I did it so I wanted to make it look like this car was produced this way. It wasn't just one of those, I went to the junkyard, sprayed off some brake clean, threw it under the hood. I mean, I custom made brackets. I said it is functional ram air. I made it look like it was supposed to be in this car.
Yeah, it looks real good.
So how did you do the ram air?
Well, I did. It is a Trans Am style hood.
Yeah.
Now, because the LS engine's air intake's right there in the front. I'll take a
Right.
picture of it, send it to you. But I literally took it straight out of the front of the engine and throttle body. I made a box, and it uses the 2002 Trans Am air filter, so I use that as my base. And I made a rectangular box, mounted it basically on the core support directly into the engine. And then the hood, I cut the inner structure apart. Then I took the 350 hood, all the little radiuses and all the little shapes, and I puzzle pieced it together with the same outline. So it had a foam seal and shut the hood. It actually lines up with the scoops and goes right into the air cleaner. But if you look at the hood, it looks like a stamped steel hood, like it came that way.
Yep.
So that's a many-hour mod that nobody sees. So.
Yeah, I'm going to do the similar thing. I haven't figured out exactly how yet, so I might tap you for some pictures at some point.
Yeah, okay. I'll send you some, maybe some before, during, and then how I did it. So, yeah,
Good.
I've got some pictures. I'll send your way.
Yeah, right now I just have a temporary filter on there, but
Yep. It works. But I just, one of the things that's troubling with LS engines, you get that intake somewhere and you put that cone-shaped filter, you put it right by the radiator, you tuck it in the fender, and I don't like the look of that. And so I need to do something for Pontiac. And I just want to do something to kind of bring it back full circle, so I put Ram Air parts on. Made it Ram Air car. So.
I'll send you a picture, Jonathan, but I found a link for this. I think it was, I can't remember exactly who made it, but they had an air filter back in like the original location for a carbureted car.
Really?
And then a tube that came off the bottom and came around to the front and picked up the LS intake. And I'm like, that is really slick. Of course, you can't buy it. It's a one-off. Somebody made it. So I was thinking about something like that, too, because you could use the original Ram Air plate at the bottom of the hood.
Right, and you put the long tubes on it. Right. So I ended up trimming. I bought those expensive $100-some-odd set of tubes, and I cut them down. They're probably about 10 to 15 inches long now.
Yeah.
But it directs the air right into the inlet. But that was the easiest way I think that I could do instead of fabricating my own.
All right, guys.
I beat those into place.
So Jason over there in Oklahoma says, talking to Gus, 90s IROC steering box is a quick ratio. I have one of the 59 Firebird. It's awesome. So there's that answer. Isaac says, what was your very first car? Asking all of you gentlemen. Well, I think my very first car was a 1977 Oldsmobile L88. Then a Pontiac Grand Am.
A Grand Am, huh? Man, well, see, I'm going to ruin it for everybody. I'm going to ruin it here. My first car I actually purchased from the junkyard for $300. And I was 15 years old. I hauled it home. I just wanted to see how a car worked. I didn't plan on ever driving it. It was just a good deal. I have stories for hours about this car, but what it ended up being is a 1986 Plymouth Turismo. If anybody knows what that looks like,
yeah, I do.
Hideous car. It had a little like 1.3 or 1.2 engine. It could get out of its own way. Manual trans, you could dump the clutch and it wouldn't spin the tires on ice. It was horrible. But, I drove it for a while. It did okay.
How about you, Louie?
Mine was a 1989 Firebird T-top, baby blue.
Oh, you stud.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mine was a 1956 two-door 210 wagon that my uncle gave me when I was 14, and you could just about throw a cat through it. And what a mess. And I spent, the next 2 years just building it up, trying to make it roadworthy, and I drove that car for a long time.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Miss Jenna says Ram Air Reproductions sells the long branch manifolds, among other items.
I wish they did. I'm on a wait list for, I think, 8 months now, and they have yet to fill the order. There's a lot of people that I know that are on that wait list. The guy is super friendly to talk to on the phone. He has all the right intentions, but he's waiting on a foundry to make them. So last I knew, they advertise them, and that's they're going to have them next week, but I'm not sure what week that is.
Lisa says, how many coats of primer did you lay down, Brian? I did 2 coats of primer, Lisa, on this car just to be able to get it out of bare metal. Gus thanks us all. Johanna says, hey, from Michigan. This is Greg's wife. Great to be watching all of this knowledge. Gus says, use on retro radios or classic car stereos. Any recommendations for direct bolt-on and wire? And you guys have any retro
Yeah.
radios or radios?
Yeah,
What do you got?
I bought a retro sound system that looks like the original AM rig. It's got Bluetooth. It's got the wireless, you can use your phone, and it works pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
I
Okay.
did that in my 69 Bird. It's a 1 year only radio cutout, and that's hard for people to believe, but 1969 Firebird, 1 year only. Now, I've got some ways to make other radios work, but I bought that for mine. That was 6 years ago now, and I think that was like $600 then. Now they're over $1,000, so they're a little spendy, but it looks cool and it works great, but yikes. So with the Mockingbird, we use a 69 GTO radio. It fits in the opening, but the push buttons are slightly shorter. A lot less money. I think it was like $300 or $400, so that might be an option. But depending on what your car is, it makes a difference. Like you said, Mike's got 67, 68. There's a lot more options and a little more reasonably priced too. You're still at probably $500, I think, for that radio though. So.
Yeah, it's like around $500.
Yep.
Raymond says my first car he bought was a 1974. Bought in 1974 was a 1970 Chevelle SS convertible 396 4-speed cow induction.
I'm sorry you had to drive that.
$1,200 for it.
Oh, man, I feel so bad for you. I can't believe they made you drive that.
Yeah. Let me guess.
And
You sold it when you got kids.
Yeah.
Those damn Rugrats curtain crawlers.
Hey, my first Firebird is right there behind me. It's somewhat in progress, but maybe someday I'll finish it. I didn't sell it.
Firebird, my first one.
Yeah.
All right. So our last question is coming from Gus. He has a 67 convertible and wants to know where's the rear speaker locations.
So
Convertible? Yep.
yeah, they're actually behind the seat. The rear speaker is in the back of the seat brace, pointed towards the convertible top as it's folded down.
They look kind of like.
Oh, there you go.
You can see in that window or not.
There they are.
There's one. And then if you want dual speakers, ta-da.
There you go.
Yeah, I had to do that. Sound quality's awful, but that's how they were. So.
Yep.
So when the top is down, are the speakers covered?
100%.
So what's the point?
Yeah.
Just turn it up louder, man.
Yep. Crank it up.
Too loud or
Listen.
too old?
I'm gonna be honest. When you have a crazy exhaust system, those
Don't do
radio
that.
systems are useless.
Yeah, you might as well have earbuds at that point.
Yeah.
Jeff G says his first car was a 69 Firebird convertible. He painted a house for it in 1976.
Wow.
That's a fair trade. A car. A
Yeah,
house.
reasonable. Yeah.
Why not?
Nice.
I'm pretty sure he told me that story once. That sounds so familiar. So.
Raymond says he now owns 4 Pontiac cars, a 64 and 3 65s.
Nice.
And Bill just joined us, and he says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Hey, Bill, I just let everybody know about that dash. So if you weren't watching earlier, I let everybody know about it." Lisa says, "What are y'all's thoughts on swapping from a V-belt system on a small block Chevy to a mid-mount serpentine belt system for a 383 stroker?"
Who's our Chevy guy? Go.
No
I
Chevy.
mean,
Lisa, Pontiac. Come on.
I never had a Chevy in my life.
I never had an aftermarket front end and aftermarket pulley system. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, pretty much any. If you wanted the let's call it the cheap and easy, any 4.3, any small block Chevy and a pickup truck, that accessory drive will go right on the front of that engine. So you can take the brackets, the pulleys, the power steering pump, everything, and it'll bolt right to the front of that engine. So that's the cheap way. That's probably how I would do it. But that's when you used to go to the junkyard and find pickup trucks and Camaros and Firebirds with a serpentine belt setup. But and like even S10 with a 12.3, you could take that belt drive system off. But
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of aftermarket kits out there too, though.
That 4.3 was literally the Chevy 350 block with the rear 2 cylinders cut off it.
Hacked off of it. Yep. Yeah, so that stuff all bolted on the front just the same.
Yep. Same bolt patterns everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kids. One last question from Gus. He says, is there a front disc conversion recommendation? I remember seeing one of John's videos having to tweak some stuff.
Mm. Well, Louis likes to piece them together piece by piece. He does pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And it depends on also the biggest question really was most of these kits, no matter where you get them from, are you running 14-inch factory wheels or 15-inch? If you got 15-inch or larger, all the kits are really going to probably work fine for you.
True.
Shop around, get your best price. But if you want 14-inch wheels, you need to find, or you're going to end up modifying the heck out of the brackets, and you're removing metal, which is, but you can get away with it. But if I was shopping new with 14-inch wheels, spend the time and find the right brackets. Or if you need help, I'm sure one of us could probably get you the right direction what that bracket looks like for the caliper.
Okay. I'm just going to finish up here. Mike N says he has a 69 Camaro owner. Just want to say I enjoy you guys' content. I'm just going to hang back and watch.
It's a safe space. It's okay.
And
I got an LS engine, so I get beat up. It's cool. So.
Raymond followed up to his 65 GTO convertible, and he has a 65 2+2 convertible.
Nice.
So
Nice.
he's got pretty cool stuff back there.
Yep.
Well, guys, it's been a great time. It's almost an hour long. I'm going to wrap it up. It's probably one of our best Friday shows that we've had. So we'll do this next week. Hopefully you guys will join us again. If you have questions, shoot them off in the comments, and we'll answer them next week like we did for last week. And thank you guys for being here. I enjoyed it.
Yes. Yep.
And
I need a drink.
I still can't find Orange Mountain Dew in Arizona.
I'm sorry, buddy. I've ruined it.
No. I gotta buy the green stuff.
What's that, a guave flavor or something?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Little tequila.
Oh dear.
All right, guys. I will see you
All right.
next Friday.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you then. All right, see y'all.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Later.